Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and give this video a like up. This week on The Bold and the Beautiful, spoilers say Dr. Lee Finnegan will be backed into a corner. When Lee tried to fake Luna Nozawa's Lisa Yamada death, she clearly underestimated how far her other grandma would go to find her. The granny claws are about to come out on the CBS soap. Here's what's coming up next on B&B, spoilers down below. Sheila Carter, Kimberlyn Brown, was devastated on The Bold and the Beautiful when she learned her granddaughter Luna had succumbed to her gunshot wound and passed away. But Sheila needed closure about Dr. John Finnegan's Tanner Nolan daughter and could tell that Lee Finnegan, Naomi Matsuda, was hiding something, or rather someone. The Bold and the Beautiful spoilers for next week say Dr. Lee Finnegan's secret is not safe, and Sheila Carter is on the case. Now that Sheila bumped into Dr. Lee and her bag of Luna's medicine, it's only a matter of time before she figures out that her granddaughter is still alive. You can't con a con artist, and Lee can expect Sheila Carter to come knocking. But which grandma will end up with comatose Luna? Sheila Carter can't expose Lee Finnegan's Luna scam because then her granddaughter will be handed over to the authorities. She can't snatch Luna and keep her alive in a hospital bed in the back room at Il Giardino. She needs Grandma Lee's medical expertise. However, B&B spoilers say that Lee is in over her head trying to care for Luna Nozawa and keep her hidden. In fact, Grandma Sheila could be the answer to her problems. Will the two women be able to set aside their differences and work together to care for Luna? Or will a granny brawl break out on B&B? Los Angeles might be full of designer dresses, billion-dollar businesses, and sprawling mansions. But this week, the real battlefield isn't Forrester Creations' boardroom. It's the war between two fiercely determined grandmothers, Sheila Carter and Lee Finnegan. And at the heart of the fight? Baby Hayes, his future, and the man both women claim to love like no other, Dr. John Finnegan. It all starts with what Finn thought was going to be a quiet afternoon at the Cliff House. Steffi had taken Kelly for a playdate, leaving Finn and Hayes at home. He was humming a lullaby when there was a knock at the door. Not a polite tap-tap, not a friendly ding-dong. It was a heavy, deliberate knock, 3 beats of impending trouble. When Finn opened the door, Sheila stood there, holding a teddy bear almost as big as Hayes himself. "Don't worry, sweetheart," she cooed, stepping inside before Finn could even answer. "Grandma's here." Before Finn could launch into the usual Sheila, you can't just drop by speech, another knock sounded, this one sharp, quick, and judgmental. He opened the door again, and there stood Lee, arms crossed, eyes narrowed like she had just smelled a crime scene. "Well," Lee said, her voice cutting through the tension. "Looks like the circus is in town." Sheila turned with a smirk. "Nice to see you too, Dr. Perfect. You here to monitor Hayes' pulse or his playtime?" Lee stepped inside, brushing past Sheila. "I'm here to make sure you aren't corrupting my grandson with your toxic presence." Finn groaned. "Can we not?" But it was too late. The battle lines had been drawn. In the kitchen, Hayes sat in his high chair, giggling as his two grandmothers faced off like rival mob bosses in an Italian restaurant. Lee pulled out a neatly wrapped package. Organic, non-GMO, sugar-free teething biscuits. Approved by pediatric nutritionists. Sheila placed her teddy bear in Hayes' lap. "And here's something fun, because kids deserve joy, not lectures." Lee's eyebrow arched. "Joy doesn't mean stuffing him full of cheap fabric and toxic dyes." "Oh, please," Sheila shot back. "At least I show up for him." "You? You only see him when it fits into your busy little schedule." Finn rubbed his temples. "Mom, Sheila, this isn't a competition." Lee's eyes flickered toward him. "It is when the other competitor is a dangerous criminal who's manipulated, lied, and shot people." Sheila gasped, hand over her heart. "Ancient history. And for the record, I didn't mean to shoot Finn." "That was an accident?" Lee scoffed. "Tell that to the bullet wound." Somehow, the conversation shifted into a heated debate over bedtime routines, vaccinations, and whether Hayes should learn piano or martial arts first. Lee, structure, discipline, consistency. That's how a child thrives. Sheila, love, adventure, and a little rule breaking. That's how a child lives. Lee, children need boundaries. Sheila, children need freedom. Lee, freedom without boundaries is chaos. Sheila, boundaries without freedom is prison. Finn tried to mediate, but it was like refereeing a tornado versus a hurricane. Hayes, meanwhile, was happily gnawing on his teething biscuit and clutching the teddy bear, clearly enjoying the spoils of war. Things took a sharper turn when Lee brought up the night Finn nearly died. "You want to talk about boundaries, Sheila?" Lee's voice was icy. "How about staying away from my son after you put him in a coma?" Sheila's jaw tightened. "I have paid for my mistakes." "Not enough," Lee said. "You'll never be safe for Hayes." "Not in my eyes." For a moment, the room went still. Sheila's bravado wavered. "You think I don't hate myself for that? You think I don't replay that night over and over?" Finn's expression softened, but Lee's didn't. Regret doesn't erase risk. The tension might have escalated into another screaming match if Hayes hadn't chosen that exact moment to throw his teething biscuit on the floor, babble something completely incomprehensible, and then reach for both women at once. It was like a tiny, chubby-armed peace treaty. Sheila blinked, surprised. "He wants us both?" Lee hesitated, then sighed. "He doesn't know the history. He just knows he has two grandmothers who care about him." For a fleeting second, something almost like understanding passed between them. Hayes giggled, and they both leaned in to kiss the top of his head at the same time, only to bump foreheads. "Maybe," Finn said, "we can try." "Not to hate each other for his sake?" Lee and Sheila exchanged a look. Neither agreed out loud, but neither disagreed either. When Steffi returned, she found Sheila and Lee sitting on opposite ends of the couch, both looking suspiciously calm, while Hayes played with his new bear. "What happened here?" she asked, narrowing her eyes. "Just grandma time," Sheila said smoothly. Lee nodded. "Nothing worth mentioning." Steffi clearly didn't believe them, but decided not to dig yet. As Sheila left, she glanced back at Lee. "This isn't over." Lee's lips curled into the faintest smirk. "It never is." The grandma battle may not have produced a clear winner, but it left a mark. Hayes now knows that if he ever needs a teething biscuit or a giant teddy bear, he has two very different women ready to provide it, along with a lifetime of drama, bickering, and love in their own complicated ways. In Los Angeles, power struggles are nothing new. But when the fight is for family, even the fiercest rivals might find themselves standing on the same side, if only for a moment. And for Sheila Carter and Lee Finnegan, that moment might be the most dangerous truce of all. If you'd like, I can also make a second, spicier version where the grandma battle escalates into full-blown sabotage attempts instead of just verbal jabs. That would turn it into a real soap-style war. Would you like me to do that next? Thanks for watching this video. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel and stay with us.